Awesome. So thank you everyone for joining this info session on Hustle Crew's new accelerator Playschool. What I wanted to do today was tell you a bit more about the program, the curriculum, the speakers, why we're doing it, what we hope it will deliver to everyone who's participating, and also answer all the questions that have been asked so far and have been submitted so far. The Q&A is open, so you can hit the Q&A button here on Zoom and ask any questions that are on your mind. I think chat is open as well. So yeah, you should be able to chat too. So yeah, like I said, I hope you're all having a really good day and you're showing up in a good, positive headspace. So if it's cool with you, I'm just going to jump into the slides that I have prepared. And then I'm going to jump into the questions. So Playschool is a brand new accelerator launched by Hustle Crew. It's fully funded by Hustle Crew, which means it's going to be free to the participants. The only thing we ask is your time, your commitment, and also your devices, because you're going to be connecting with our speakers live on Zoom. Okay, I just realized I didn't actually finish this slide, so I'm going to stop sharing for a second so I can add Jazz's name here, one of our speakers, to that. I apologize for my lack of composure. I just had my water stop in my flat. So I just was on a very panicky call to Thames Water trying to understand why that happened minutes before I joined, so forgive me. Okay, cool. So back into the slides. Here we go. So I'll just start off by telling you, why we're doing Playhouse. So Playschool even. Oh God, you can really tell this is not my day. Okay, so Playschool is the accelerator that I wish I had when I first started out as a founder. One of the things that I think is really difficult when you come, especially from an underrepresented background like me, my parents didn't really understand why I wanted to pick such a risky career path. Which I think is very common for, parents of the global majority, parents who are immigrants. They made a lot of sacrifices and risks to get their kids to countries like the UK and the US, and they just want us to have a safe career path. And I get that. But one of the things that I realized is, unlike many other founders, especially founders from the dominant groups, that in itself is an additional barrier, right? Because when you are an entrepreneur from a community that respects entrepreneurship and understands entrepreneurship and has the resources to support you as an entrepreneur, you're dealing with a completely different set of rules. You've got people who can fund you, who can sponsor you, who can invest in you. You've got people who can give you access to connections and community and network. And these are a lot of things that I just felt that I didn't have. And I think there's a lot of really, generic advice out there about how to run a business, how to succeed as an entrepreneur, but most of it is shaped through the lens of people who have a ton of privilege, right? They'll talk about raising your friends and family around, or using your network to get your first customers. Well, what do you do when your network doesn't have the money to fund your project, or doesn't have the money to buy your product or service, or you don't have the network to sell to your target audience? So what I really wanted to do with Playschool was, in a way, make sure that people like you who have really good ideas and have the drive to be entrepreneurs can stay in the game, because I feel like it's really hard to keep working on a business idea when the odds are stacked against you, when you don't have the support network, when you don't have the experts around you who can give you guidance, when you don't have the people that can connect you to investors and customers. It's a very lonely road. And one thing that makes some of the most successful businesses successful is the fact that they just never gave up. And I think about that when it comes to Hustle Crew. Hustle Crew started in 2016. And, over the course of this time period from 2016, 2020, and Black Lives Matter 2023, so many diversity and inclusion communities, diversity and tech communities, diversity and tech businesses have started, but also died. And Hustle Crew is one of the ones that's actually just managed to survive. And that's thanks to our customers, but it's also thanks to our community, our network. And for me personally, as the sole founder and CEO of Hustle Crew, it's also down to the fact that I've been able to always tap into a community of peers, always tap into this community of like friends. I wouldn't even call them mentors, really. They're like friends. They're people that just genuinely want me to succeed and help me. So these are the people that I've asked really to like participate as experts and speakers in this program. So Ash Phillips is the founder of Different and Rebel Meetups. He works very closely with the Ada Ventures VC fund. He helped launch their Scout program and manages the Scout community. So he's an excellent operator himself as a founder, but also really well connected in the venture space. Michael, who you might know if you listen to my podcast Techish, is a founder of People of Color in Tech. You know, he's a bootstrapping solo founder that's been able to create a 7-figure annual revenue business like myself. And that is no mean feat, okay? It's really, really hard to make $1 million in a year. And there are people who've raised millions that haven't even made $1 million in their business, right? So for someone to actually have achieved that without any funding, just by creating a product or a service that many, many people want to buy, pricing that right, building a team that can deliver that is exceptional. And that's why I'm so happy to have him there. And same goes for Andy Iam, MBE. Andy is such an exceptional operator. You know, when Backstage Capital launched in London, he was one of the partners there, managing that, leading on that. He is now an entrepreneur himself at Angel Investing School, a program that I have done. He invests at Atomico. He has a really prolific profile in the startup space, originally from a product background, now an entrepreneur himself, really passionate about democratizing the world of angel investing, early stage investing. And then because Playschool is about offering advice that really is more nuanced and holistic than like all of the really generic startup advice out there, I thought it was really important to use this opportunity to develop our personal development, soft skills, for lack of a better word. I really don't like that phrase, soft skills, but really this idea of like how we show up and how we deal with problems and how we deal with conflict, but also like how we deal with our own insecurities, our own bad habits. These are the things that you will always contend with as a leader, right? It's never going to go away, right? The things that frustrate you, the things that are challenging, working with people, all these things are complex and will always be complex, whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50. So I thought it'd be really good to have, people like Tiwa Lola and Jazz involved in this as well, 2 people who have helped shape me as a leader over this journey, come in and talk about what they know as far as getting to know yourself better, playing to your strengths, and like navigating, relationships with teammates, co-founders, clients, etc. So these are all of the speakers who are going to be interacting with you, answering your questions, helping you take your business to the next level. And I really want Playschool to feel like a community that continues to exist even after the program ends. Like, I just want to feel like we all have each other's back, because it's a long road. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And if you're serious about being an entrepreneur, you're going to be an entrepreneur for the majority of your life. And it's a good thing. I think of it as a good and exciting thing. So, I really hope that we can continue to support each other even after the program ends. So if you're not familiar with Hustle Crew, we are a careers community. We're on a mission to make the tech industry and really, all workplaces more inclusive. And we are doing this through education. These are some photos of some of our team that we took earlier this year. And, just to like bring it home for you, Hustle Crew started because I saw this need in myself, if I'm speaking honestly, to connect with other underrepresented people in tech. I was working in startups where I just didn't see that many other women of color like me. I'm Black and Asian. I was like, where are we at? I'm like always surrounded by white dudes. What's going on? But of course, there were layers to that. Like the fact that I was always surrounded by people who were different to me meant also that I was like facing like microaggressions and this, that, and the other. I didn't know that Hustle Crew could be a business when I started. I just thought it was a meetup, like a community. It was only because I did incubators and accelerators like Playschool is going to be, that I realized, wow, I can like turn all the learnings I'm getting from my community into training. I can sell this training to companies. Companies are willing to pay thousands of pounds just for me to deliver a workshop. And now not just me, my team, we work with clients in the US, Europe. We started delivering in Hong Kong this year. We're global. And this started because of a meetup. community. I started in London 6 years ago. So if I can do it, you can do it. You know, I turned an idea into a profitable business. And I genuinely believe anyone can turn an idea into a profitable business. But you really need to be surrounded by the right people. You need to have the right tools. You need to have the right support. And this is what we are going to do. So just a few questions about the curriculum that I'll jump into next after I talk you through it. In week 1, we're going to focus on self-awareness. So this is really about like, how do you, as a leader, understand your strengths, understand your weaknesses, and understand what you can do to play to your strengths. The reason a hustle crew is really successful is because it's a business based on talks and training. And talks and training are things I do really, really well. Like I used to study drama, I did National Youth Theatre, and I always had propensity towards verbal communication. And so I've designed a series of products that leverage verbal communication to deliver value to customers. And I've been able to identify amazing people who are also really good at that to help me scale the business. But what are your strengths? You know, what comes natural to you, what comes easy to you, but also what do you struggle with? And, you know, one of the things that's really important for you to recognize on this journey is, yes, there are some weaknesses that we will always need to work on, but there are some that we just accept we are never going to be good at, or we never want to be good at. And that's where we then start to think smart and think, who can we work with to, you know, bring that skill into our business and help us improve there. So anyway, these are the kinds of things that we'll be talking about in week 1. In week 2, we're going to move on to mindsets. You know, one of the things that I used to really struggle with was, you know, fear of getting it wrong, fear of doing the wrong thing. I'm going to read this email 1,000,000 times before I send it to the client. I'm going to read this pitch deck, 5 more times before I send it to the investor. All of these limiting mindsets based on my own lack of self-confidence, my own lack of self-esteem, my own lack of self-belief. Understandably so, right? I'm a woman of color moving in a space that I don't see many people like me. But there are a lot of these mindsets that I really wish I just adapted earlier, so I could just like grow faster, make, bigger bets, take bigger risks. So in week 2, I really want to like focus specifically on mindsets with our experts and understand like, how do you show up the way you show up with such confidence, with that energy, but also how do you do it in a way that's sustainable? How do you do it in a way that you can maintain? What do you do when things go wrong? How do you get through that? What do you do when you feel really lonely and isolated and no one's supporting you? Like these really deep, deep, deep questions that we need to be honest about so that we can each build our own toolkit of positive mindsets, growth mindsets, the things that will really keep us in the game for the long run, even when things go bad. And then in week 3, we're going to focus on like practicality. So we're talking about habits. We believe that it's not one-off actions that change the world. Learning how to make like one really good pitch deck isn't necessarily going to help you be a good fundraiser. What is going to help you be a good fundraiser are like the habits that you have. Like, how do you show up? How do you maintain relationships? How do you ask? How do you chase? How do you deal with that? And then we absolutely will provide further support in the future. And just to give you an idea of the flow, every week we're going to meet Monday at 6 p.m. UK time. And that's going to be live on Zoom, me and all of our speakers running through the Q&A, creating space for you to have a Q&A. Then Tuesday and Wednesday, it's up to you to dive into the videos that we send, the articles that we send, the podcasts that we send, like no more than like 2 hours of content. And then we also invite you to connect with your peers. And then on Thursday evening, we do a live session, myself, and again, some of the experts. There we won't have like a strict agenda. We're going to coach you on the businesses that you're working on in line with the theme. So we're going to talk to you about the self-awareness challenges you're dealing with based on the stage of the business you're at. And we'll come together as a group, and that will be a group coaching session. Now, I really want to try and keep this cohort quite small. Like I doubt it will be more than like 10 or 12 people max, to be honest, just to give you an idea of how many people will be in the cohort, maybe even smaller, but I just think the smaller the group, the more each person will get out of it. So I'll just stop sharing there and jump into some of the questions. Who is this accelerator for? It's for founders under 30 based in London who can come to an end of program dinner on the 22nd of September and who can commit to all of the times that we've shared on the landing page. So 6 p.m. every Monday, 6 p.m. on Thursday, and then the dinner on the 22nd. And as I said, it will be for founders who are really early stage, under the age of 30. Is it for people who have already started a business? Well, it really depends what you mean by starting a business, right? So we're not necessarily expecting you to have sold anything yet. It's okay if you haven't like got any customers. It's really for people who are serious about being focused on a business in the long term. So even if your business right now is just a meetup, like Hustle Crew was when we first started, that's okay. If your business is something that's, you know, just an Instagram page or just a TikTok channel, but you're thinking about how to start monetizing it, that's also okay. This is the very first version of Playschool, okay? So I'm not like Y Combinator, where I'm 20 years in the game and I have really strict rules and I have data sets that help me know who's going to succeed or not. Truthfully, this is an experiment, right? Like I'm trying to find the next me and the next Michael and the next Ash and the next Andy, because we feel like if we can nurture you at this stage, you know, 5-10 years from now, you'll be able to do the same for that next generation of leaders. So if you think you could benefit from this program, you should apply for this program. Don't hold back. The worst thing that can happen is you get a no and you can apply for the next one. But if you really feel like this is the time for you to get support and for you to get advice, like please do. Someone says, what if the team is different ages? Can we still apply? So, you know, Playschool has been created for solo founders. And I would really encourage you to like put your CEO forward, right? So whoever is the CEO, the person who is like the main executive overseeing strategy, growth, all that kind of stuff, that's the person that should be showing up for the sessions. I am not going to be strict on age, okay? Like if you're 31 or you're 32, but you genuinely believe you can benefit from this program, like please apply. You know, I sort of like set the limit at 30 because the previous program I ran that was similar to this was capped at an age of 25. And I just feel like, you know, there's a privilege that comes with age too, just in terms of like what you can afford, the opportunities you can access, the networks you can tap into. And it does seem to get a bit easier once you're over your 30s. That's why I just thought keeping it focused on young people would be like, you know, targeting an audience that doesn't necessarily have the means to get this help themselves. But please don't, you know, exclude yourself at all. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to jump into the questions that were submitted in advance. Bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to bring them up. Cool. So somebody said, you know, how will we get funding? Yep. We'll definitely like cover things like that. Just so you know, Playschool does not provide funding at this stage in this iteration, but we definitely hope to like partner with people in future so that the completion of the program can also come with a grant. But for now, we're definitely plugged into various investor networks, and we'll do our very best to connect you with the right people who can like get you the funding that you need. Please do ask any other questions. Like there are only a couple more that were submitted in the form because most people in the form just sort of like put what was generally on their mind. So someone did ask, yeah, exactly what stage you need to be at in your entrepreneurial journey to join this program. So that's Ebony. Yeah, I mean, Ebony, do you want to like tell me a bit about the stage that you're at now? And I can tell you if that's correct. Because I appreciate it's not really like a, clearly defined thing. I'm not asking for people that have hit a certain amount of sales, a certain amount of revenue, a certain stage of maturity. So if it still feels unclear to you, do you want to tell me maybe in the chat or like in email, what you're hesitant about in terms of your application? I'd be happy to answer. It's probably easier if you're just more specific about where you're at. A few other people asked, will we cover business plans and stuff like that? Like I said, I want to make sure that we're going to cover things that you can't just like find on search engines like Google, right? Like how to write a business plan, you can find that online, but how to write like a good business plan or how to write a business plan that like really attracts the right type of people, or maybe you've struggled with writing business plans in the past because of like a specific issue or a specific mindset, that would be the kind of thing that we would aim to tackle. I think the other thing to remember is this experience will be shaped by the people who are participating in it. Myself, Michael, Andy, Tiwalola, Jazz, Ash, we're all a few years ahead in the game, right? So really, we're just trying to make ourselves available to support you and coach you based on what we wish that we things that we wish we had when we were at your stage. But I really feel that the process will evolve as the days go by, as the weeks go by, as you all get to know each other as peers, as you get to know us and make demands of us. Like, I want to see more of this, I want more time on that. And we're planning to be responsive to that. Someone asked, how will the group coaching sessions be facilitated? On Zoom. So we're going to try and just keep everything virtual. The only IRL thing that we're going to do is on the 22nd of September. That's a dinner on the Friday. So every time we as a group meet, it will be on Zoom, and we'll be encouraging you to also like connect with each other. Of course, if you want to meet in person, that'll be great. I'm also around in London. I'm happy to meet in person in between the official schedule. I'm happy to meet and chat, as I'm sure the other speakers are too. But officially, what's on the curriculum, the scheduled lectures, will be on Zoom, other than the dinner on the 22nd. So we only have, 8 minutes left. So please ask any questions. Otherwise, I'll be wrapping up soon. I'm just running through the list of registrants. We had about 30 people register for the webinar. I'm just trying to see if I've missed anything. Some people were just wondering, are we going to learn how to get it from idea to actual product? I mean, we're definitely going to talk about stuff like that. I'll be talking about how I got Hustle Crew from an idea to a B2B product. I'm sure all the other speakers will give specifics on how they were able to, build services, build products that customers want to buy. So yes, definitely. Okay, let's see. Ebony says, I haven't got a page or anything, but I have multiple strong ideas. I'm pretty certain I'll be going on to an entrepreneurial path. I don't know exactly where to start. So if you don't have one idea that you're like, this is the idea, then I'd probably say maybe you are too early for Playschool. Like, I think this program is designed to help people who already know the problem that they want to solve and already have that project, because then they're going to get more value out of it. If it's just a bit general, like, oh, I kind of think I want to be a founder one day, but I'm not really sure what problem I want to solve, and I'm not really sure like what I want to sell, it might be really difficult for you to apply the learnings and the lessons. Whereas if you already have like an Instagram page or a community, or you're like, oh, I know I definitely want to do, I don't know, yoga for Black women in my local community, or whatever it might be, then the content will benefit you so much, because it might be that you don't know like what prices to set, or you don't know how to reach your audience, and we can support you there. But if you don't even know which idea you want to work on, I would say you are too early, and you could apply for a future one. I can see just a couple of questions. The ideas do not have to be tech specific. No, we feel that most businesses are tech enabled, but you don't have to be tech specific. So that's okay. And someone says, when do you hear back about applications? So applications are still open. We'll probably begin to start answering applications from Monday. So over the course of next week, we'll begin to start responding to applicants, but I haven't started reviewing them yet, because I also wanted to make sure that I got this webinar out into the universe. It's a rolling applications, so there's no deadline to apply, but places are limited. So it's first come, first serve. And, following this webinar, like I said, we'll begin to start reviewing applicants, and start getting back to them on Monday. So I would definitely get your application in as soon as possible. I specifically designed the application form to not be complicated. I just wanted to know a bit about you, if you can like make the time, and what are you interested in learning more about? Why do you think this would be helpful? Please don't spend more than like 10 or 15 minutes on it. Don't overthink it. If you're not successful this time, you can join a future one. We're all friendly people. We're not here trying to like judge you or anything like that. It's not Y Combinator. It's not like, 1 billion people applying for however many spaces. So just get some honest answers on the form, submit it as soon as you can, and we'll be getting back to people, like I said, from Monday next week. Okay, any other questions? Oh, and thanks, Ebony. So you do have an idea. Okay, yeah, your message suggested, it said something like, I've got multiple pretty strong ideas. So that's why I just assumed you didn't have like one thing that you actually are pursuing. But yeah, if you have one idea that you're already pursuing, like you're already like thinking about, what it looks like, what you're going to do, it might be helpful for you. Okay, so I don't see any other questions coming through. I'm just going to quickly scan the Zoom again and make sure I didn't miss anything. Someone did say, what are details of an application that stands out? Honestly, it's not that kind of application process. It's not like university or anything like that. We're just looking for people who we feel will complement each other. So one of the reasons why I haven't started reviewing applications yet is because I wanted to get a few more applications in. We've just had a handful so far. I wanted to get a few more applications in and really just start to understand, okay, what does this group look like? What does this cohort looks like? And how early are some of these people? How much more mature are some of these ideas? And my goal ultimately, it's like I'm kind of like the vibe curator, right? I just want to curate a vibe amongst you that I feel will set you all off on a path for success during the program and beyond. So I'm waiting for a few more applications to come in so I can really assess, okay, how can I bring together a group that I feel will really, really support each other because of all the different things they're bringing to the table and the different stages that they're at. So hopefully that's really helpful. Okay, final call for questions. This is your chance. If there's anything else you wanted to know about the program, about Hustle Crew, about the speakers, anything at all, please let me know. Just quickly running through the list, people were saying, I want to know how to overcome entrepreneurship struggles. Yes, we're definitely going to cover that. We're going to cover marketing, community. We are real life founders. So we're going to be sharing everything that we have learned on the journey with you. We're going to cover funding. We're going to cover scaling, finding a community of peers. We're going to cover that. Also finding resources, co-working spaces, all that stuff. Yes, we can share all of our learnings and lessons. This is also about access. I hope that everyone that does participate in Playschool stays a part of the Playschool community. You'll be able to continue talking to me and all the speakers in the future as you keep growing your career, as you keep building your business. The relationship doesn't end with the accelerator, right? It's the beginning. It's the beginning of hopefully a really productive and positive partnership. So on that note, I'm going to leave it there. I'm also going to put my email in the chat. It's abadesi@hustlecrew.co. I know sometimes it's a bit scary asking questions live on a Zoom webinar. So if you feel more comfortable just DMing me, writing me an email, you can do that too. Please block out, 10 or 15 minutes today, tomorrow, over the weekend, ideally before Monday, to submit your application. Even if you're not successful this time, we are going to run future versions of this, and we are going to, partner with people so that we can give you cash at the end, because I know that is one of the things that is most necessary at the beginning of your founder journey. It's all good and well to get education, but actually getting money to buy things that you need is so important too, and hire people. So I get it. But yeah, I will leave you with that for now. Please do email me any questions, abadesi@hustlecrew.co. Don't be shy. I know you can do it. I know you have amazing ideas and you're going to go on and do great things. And I just want a chance to support you. That's why I'm doing it. So thanks for your time today. I'm going to run and see if my water works. And I will leave you to enjoy the rest of your afternoons. Thank you so much.